The reading is taken from Luke 24, starting at verse 13, entitled, On the Road to Emmaus. Now that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. As they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came and walked along with them, but they were kept from seeing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you the only one living in Jerusalem who doesn't know the things that have happened there in these days?" And then moving on to verse 25, he said to them, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ have to suffer these things and then enter his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself.
Dear Lord Jesus, thank you that you love us and died on the cross and rose again. And we rejoice that Jesus is alive. Amen.
Well, thank you so much for that reading, Clive, and also Joe, thank you so much for that prayer. And we get to this part of the Bible here where you've got two disciples. They're talking about Jesus, but yet they're very downcast, they're very down. And you think, well, how can that be? Well, at that moment, Jesus Christ has risen from the grave. These disciples would have seen Jesus being crucified, but they hadn't yet seen Jesus risen. And to them, he's still in the tomb. To them, everything that had happened in the past. And literally, that's what they're doing. They're talking to each other as they're going down the road about everything that happened before. And actually Jesus comes and walks alongside them and asks them what they're discussing, and they can't even recognize Jesus at that moment. And the problem is, it's true for us as Christians. When we become a has-happened Christian, we're downcast. When everything about Jesus is in the past, when everything that he's done in your life becomes just a testimony. The thing is, it is everything. It is everything to them. But the problem is they can't recognize Jesus in the present moment. And you think, well, how can this be? What's gone wrong? And Jesus says to them, "How foolish you are and how slow to believe all the prophets have spoken." And what is Jesus saying? You've been slow to embrace all the truth about Jesus. He's not saying that you don't believe. He's just saying you've just been very slow. It's been like a snail's pace. There was maybe an excitement when you first met Christ, and there was that moment of combination and help and strength. And then it's just, as you've heard the truth about Jesus, and then you've seen how the effects on this world and the truths about Jesus on this side, and it's like you've been slow to embrace them. Maybe you thought the effects of this world were too much, maybe them witnessing Christ on the cross and being crucified, watching Jesus being persecuted just like you get to see that, watching his name get put through the mud just as you get to see that. Maybe watching that was too much for them. And they still believed that all the miracles that he'd done, they still believed all the amazing things that he'd done, and he was everything to them. Yet at the present moment, they can't recognize him in his risen state. They can't recognize him in this amazing, powerful way. And Jesus actually says it's foolish. You see, what a fool will do is they'll mishandle the message. It's quite strong words from Jesus. We sometimes think we wish he never said those words to us. But he says, you've been foolish with my word. You've been foolish with the truth. Instead of just embracing it and not leaning on your own understanding, but in all of your ways and acknowledging me, and I'll make your path straight. Instead of doing that, you've let doubts creep in. You've let different things, your own fears maybe, and your own view of the world, you've let it creep in. And now you're talking with other people about me, but you're not talking with me. You're talking about me with other people, but you're not letting me talk to you. But the good thing is, Jesus is talking to them whether they even recognize it or not. I love that. Their whole focus is Jesus, yet Jesus is here, and he's still saying, I'm still with you. You still believe, even though you're very slow to embrace everything. And he said to them, did not the Messiah have to suffer these things and enter his glory? And beginning with Moses and the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. So what does Jesus do when he finds Christians like this? You could say it's fair play that they turn out like this, considering all that they'd witnessed. You see, but they had witnessed Christ on the cross, but they'd also witnessed his word. They'd witnessed his truth, his message. And they let their circumstances rise above the word of God. And although Jesus says you're foolish, and although Jesus says you're slow to believe, the good news is, what Jesus does is he loves to tell you the gospel all over again. He loves just to refresh you. And maybe that's what you need when you're in that place of being slow to believe. Just be refreshed with all the truth. And he does that right from Moses, right the way through the Bible, all the prophets. He just begins to tell you everything about himself. Showing you, this is where I led them out the Red Sea. This is where I took them into the Promised Land. This is where I disciplined them, the church, with Nebuchadnezzar. This is where I led Daniel through the lion's den and the 3 Hebrew boys through the fiery furnace. Look what I've done. He begins to explain everything. This is where I met Gideon. This is where I met David. This is where I met Joshua. This is where I met Abraham. And he begins to tell them everything that he's done. He's saying you're slow to believe, but I'm going to quicken you to believe. And it must have been the most amazing Bible story that anybody, the Bible study that anybody's been involved in. And we think it's only for them, but you have that experience as well. Jesus is willing to take you down this road of Emmaus like these 2 disciples. And maybe it's more of, instead of just talking about Jesus with each other, maybe you need to do some more of just walk down the road with Jesus and let Jesus talk to you. And as we do, he'll really begin to open your eyes, and eventually you'll see that you'll begin to fully recognize him in the present time. And really what you're happening is you're letting the past now become the present. In the past he's everything, and now the present he's everything again plus more. Don't be a has-happened Christian, because you will be downcast. Because Jesus is amazing, but he's not amazing then. Be a Jesus who was amazing, and Jesus still is amazing, and Jesus will always be amazing. Then you're going to be a very joyful Christian. And you're going to know that help, the ever-present help of the Lord in times of trouble. So God bless you and have a great day. Take care.